I just need to switch off the music I had playing here, and we'll get into the talk here. So I hope you all found a little bit of breakfast there at the back room. It's great to see so many of you out here this morning supporting the event. And after the last one in January, when James asked me to take part, I was really excited by the opportunity. So I'm honored to be here. And Moments is a theme that is quite broad, and I wanted to talk about it in a way that relates to what I do and who I am. And possibly many of you will also be able to relate to some of the things that I talk about today. I want to start this moment off by telling a little story. So one evening there was a husband and a wife, and it was Christmas. They were at a Christmas function. It was at quite a large establishment, and at one point in the evening they decided to take a break from the party and head out into the rest of the building. It had some artwork in here, some paintings and pictures on the wall, some sculptures throughout the building, and so they just wanted to take a little break from the party, have a look around and appreciate some of the art. And at one point the wife went to find the washroom, and the husband, he was by himself in the hall, and he heard this music playing, and he thought, well, I've got to go see where this is coming from. So he wanders around this corner, and he comes into this small lobby area where there's a grand piano, and there's this guy playing the piano there. And he was playing Christmas music, and this gentleman recognized this song. It was "O Holy Night" that was being played. And after the song finished, he went up to the piano player and he said, "Oh, thank you, that was very beautiful. I just got this idea. I'm wondering if you want to help me out with this. That is my wife's absolute favorite Christmas song, and it would mean so much to her if you could play that for us. Are you on board with this?" And the piano player said, "Yeah, let's do that." So the guy goes around the corner, finds his wife, and a minute later they come back. And so when the pianist sees them, he starts playing the song. And immediately this woman is touched by the gesture that her husband had for her. And they stood there together appreciating this music. And afterwards, the wife, she had been weeping. She was really moved by it. There was even a lady that had been passing by that heard the music and saw that this couple was very moved by this, and she comforted this stranger just with a hug. And the couple, they thanked the pianist and wished him a Merry Christmas. The wife said it made her Christmas day. And after that, they went back to the function in the banquet hall. And after that night, it wasn't the Christmas party that they remembered and reflected on and shared with their friends and family, but it was that moment that they were brought together by the music. And that song that is in that lady's heart. And every time she hears the song again, she's brought back to that moment that they were there together at Christmas. So the reason I tell this story is because I think it illustrates the positive impact that moments like this can have on our lives. And I can relate to it as well, because music is very important to me, and it has a deep impact on myself. Just to give you a bit more background about me, I grew up in Canada, and I came to Dubai about 3 years ago. I'm working as a freelance musician and composer. And I've had about 1,000 jobs in different industries, from aviation to IT. And music has always been on the side for me. And when you take something that's a hobby and you make it what you do for fun, it's very exciting, it's a little scary, but if you're thinking about doing it, do it, it's worth it. just know that it's not going to be easy, but it will pay off. One of my other great interests is travel. It was part of the reason I came to Dubai, because that's part of the adventure, just to get out there, see different parts of the world. I'm also, since a teenager, I've had photography as a hobby. And so I always enjoyed combining these two interests of photography and travel, and having those moments captured to share with friends and family. Excuse me a moment. So, 10 years ago, I was living in Whistler, British Columbia, Canada, and it was winter time. I had a friend of mine from Montreal visiting me. He's a very talented filmmaker, and we were out for a walk one evening. It was snowing, and we're walking on the path. We had that fresh snow under our feet, and I don't know if all of you have experienced it, but there's a very distinct, soft crunch when you place your feet on fresh snow. And we had both remarked on the sound of it, and this made us start thinking more about the other sounds in our immediate environment. The water trickling through the ditch underneath the snow beside the path, and the breeze blowing through the trees that were alongside the path. And all of this spawned a conversation about the use of sound in cinema. And Hervé, my friend, he told me about some of these films that really inspired him and how they use sound. And this conversation this evening had an impact on me, because it made me want to explore sound more. And I started thinking about sound more. And I got this idea that the way we experience sound has an effect on our experience in that moment. And I thought, what if I was to go traveling, and instead of using my camera to capture pictures or video, I captured sound, just isolated audio. I wasn't sure how it would work out, but I took it with me. I eventually got a portable audio recorder. It's only a little bigger than a phone. And during moments of my travels, I would record something. And it was very interesting when I got home to put on a set of headphones, close my eyes, and realize how immersive it was. It was completely different to looking at a picture of the ocean or a downtown cityscape or a waterfall, where you get this immediate visual reference, but when you have the sound, it's completely different. And it was this way when I shared it with other people. I'd put the headphones on and I'd see them smile right away because they could recognize what it was. And so all of this kept building up. I traveled to Slovenia. At one point, it was about 7 years ago, and I collected a bunch of sounds. And I think having the constraint of just focusing on the audio forced me to be creative in a certain way, and it inspired me to use some of these field recordings that I had in the music that I create. And the music you heard earlier, I don't know if all of you got to hear the pieces, but it's from an EP that I released a few years back. It's called In Full Color. And what I did is I mixed some of these sounds in with the music, because for me it was part of that experience that inspired both the music but also just the memory of that sound. So the first track on this EP is called October. You can hear the sound of a church bell. James thought he recognized the sound. I didn't give it away because maybe it's a standard bell that's used in churches around the world, but it was just from a small village in Slovenia. And there's another track on there where I include sounds of birds chirping in a forest that I was hiking through in Croatia, and the sound of water running through a trough nearby an old mill that was near the border of Austria. And so I put all these together and I include them in my music, and it's all led to more work with sound design, and film soundtracks as well. Now, I think one of the problems we face today is we're so busy with everything, right? It can just go by in a blur. I think it's important that we take a moment and reflect on these moments that we experience in life, and we can find meaning in them, and it ultimately brings us connection to the other things, that everything comes together in these moments for a specific reason, and I think it's important to reflect on that. What I'd like to do now is show a short clip. It's a video that I made, a collaboration with Hassan Kiani, a friend of mine here, who we have today. If you get a chance to talk to him after, I'd recommend it. Great guy. So it was back in 2015, we were approached by Mercedes-Benz Middle East, and they wanted to put together some kind of a video for the UAE National Day. And so what we came up with was this film that follows Amar Al-Attad, an Emirati filmmaker, Emirati photographer, who we wanted to showcase what he does, his art, and make it into something that honors the country. And the film was shot in a weekend, and the following couple of days, post-production happened. That's the point when I did the soundtrack composition and the audio mixing. And I'll show it to you now here. It's just a few minutes long. If we could dim the lights, please.
I still hang to the analog photography. Photography makes me wait for the right moment. People ask me, what takes you to do photography? I guess I was searching for something. Literally, my lifestyle more toward classics. There is always nostalgic feeling toward my work. The process of analog photography makes me feel the tangible of the frame. Makes me slow, makes me think more about the photo that I will take. For me, it's more than a journey for photography. It's more of listening to my favorite playlist, meeting different people along the way. And this journey to celebrate the 44th National Day of UAE, I decided to come to the East and North Coast. Usually I go to this part of UAE because it has some cultural identity that is not common to other modern parts. As a photographer, when I go out to search for a frame, I go with attention. I try to find the frames in my mind before I take the photograph, finding the mystery that I'm looking for. Finding stories that I want to tell. My name is Ammar Atta. I'm a photographer.
There you have it.